Ladies and gentlemen, now with the release of Blue Demon Meliodas today, I've had about 500 comments asking, how do you set up and also gear this brand new character? And it's a very straightforward answer. You want a 4 attack and 2 defense set, and on the bracelet and also ring, you want as much pierce rating as you can possibly get, because pierce rating makes a huge difference to the burst that Demon Meliodas has, and I'm going to show you some comparative examples between my best pierce set, my best attack set, and it is clear as day that pierce rating is just so much better for this character's damage output. But I know a lot of people that don't have experience with pierce rate and pierce damage are a little bit hesitant about investing in a pierce set, but hopefully today's video will put you at ease. So this is my best pierce bracelet here, and also my best pierce ring, so some really good rolls. Now when it comes to the abilities of Blue Demon Meliodas, he's got his kind of basic card, which you can view as exactly the same as Hauser's pierce card in terms of the way that it scales. So it inflicts pierce damage equal to 100% of attack on all enemies, and this has a triple pierce rate increase, and then goes up to 150 and also 250. But also his second card, it doesn't matter about your attack, it doesn't matter about your pierce rate, because it's corrosion damage, which is based off 15% of the remaining health of all enemies, but if it's upgraded to gold, it's based on max health of all enemies. So this one, again, it doesn't matter about your attack or pierce rate at all, it's just completely irrelevant. So what you sacrifice in terms of damage by building pierce on Demon Meliodas is kind of like additional damage that you could get on the ultimate attack, but it being a weak point attack, man, there's already crazy damage off the ult, and like even my 2 out of 6 is kind of like enough damage to one-shot most opponents in PvP, and if I had it 6/6, man, it'd just be an easy one-shot on pretty much everybody, providing that the weak point criteria was met, because the multiplier is just crazy. And kind of the main thing, and the main strategy that you've got in mind with Demon Meliodas is you just like spamming the pierce rate card to get massive damage, and the damage really is very impressive. Demon Meliodas, like being one of the 7 deadly sins, has really good base stats, also a ton of cosmetic weapons to enhance the stats further. But again, this is the damage with the pierce rate gear on, so I'm just going to be spamming bronze. You'll see very often the crits are kind of between like about 51,000 to about 54,000, and the non-crits are kind of around like the 44 to 45k region, but the damage is very consistent. Like it's really insane with the pierce rate gear, man. And when we switch over to the attack gear, you're just going to see like such a huge drop. Now, I've done a lot of testing with pierce rate gear and Hauser, and the higher you go up, the kind of like less benefit you get from pierce rating. However, these cards, they still hit like friggin' trucks, man, on the silver and also gold. Like if we see that friggin' silver there at 62k, but the multiplier isn't going to be like as crazy. Like what pierce rate does is it just really makes that like bronze card consistently hit very hard, and that's the card that you're always going to be drawing into in PvP, and is just going to reliably deal like an insane amount of damage. And also like when auto farming as well, this card's just going to be chucked off all the time. So your kind of goal when building Meliodas is to make this card hit as hard as possible, even at the bronze, because again, in a lot of scenarios, man, you're not going to have the silver and you're not going to have the gold, but when you do get them, it's nice. But a lot of the scenarios, like when you're playing Hauser as well, you often don't want to merge pierce cards, you just want to like chuck them off individually. And especially in the case of Demon Meliodas, the more I play him, man, his pierce card is at least in my opinion, the most valuable one in the entire game right now. But now to show you the difference between my best pierce set and my best attack set, if we hop on over, so this is my best attack set here. I kind of showed it off a little bit earlier, but these, the ring and bracelet, man, they got close to perfect rolls. Like, they are just absolutely insane. Again, very similar in terms of the rolls on the pierce set, in terms of the quality and the rarity of the rolls. But you can see in comparison, we actually got up to almost 12,000 attacks. So just to quickly switch back, like the pierce rate set, we are actually running at like, what is it, just over 2,000 attack disadvantage. So I know this scares some players because they're like, oh dude, I'm dropping like 2,000 attack, bro, surely my damage is gonna, not really be that great in comparison. But again, remember, we had about like 51 to 54k crits and about like 44k to about 45k non-crits, and it's really easy to see that the damage is so much lower, like literally like 10k lower when running a full attack set. So despite like the massive gain in attack, like the damage goes down by an absolute ton comparatively speaking. Like the crits on the bronze for the attack set are kind of barely like the non-crits on the pierce set. So it really just like, you know, shows and emphasizes the value of building pierce rate gear if you want to get the most damage out of Demon Meliodas. So yeah, I've been having a bit of a play about with pierce gear on characters like Hauser and also Green Lizhawk, and it's always just so crazy to see the difference between like a really big attack set and a really big pierce set, because the pierce set just pulls ahead by a really significant margin every single time. So the goal of Demon Meliodas again is to cleave down your opponent's team and just deal a ridiculous amount of damage off those bronze cards and not rely on the ult. And really, he doesn't kind of have the sacrifices that maybe like Hauser would have for running a pierce set. Again, pierce, at least in my opinion with Hauser, is 100% the way to go. But Demon Meliodas, there's not really like any actual performance penalty that's really noticeable on other skills for running a pierce set, because again, this is corrosion damage. It just doesn't matter about your attack or pierce rate at all on that one. And his single target ultimate with a weak point damage multiplier is so powerful that it's just going to one-shot kind of most opponents anyway. So Blue Demon Meliodas is probably like the easiest, most straightforward character to recommend pierce in the entire game. Like the benefit he gets from it is crazy. So let's chuck back on that pierce set, shall we, and take this man out for a little bit of a spin. I want to show him in action against some boss stages, just so you can see how like dominant this character is for all sorts of farming. So I think we'll go for one of the more difficult boss battles here, and then we'll jump straight in, man. I've got the pierce set on Hauser and also Demon Meliodas as well, but the damage is just, oh mate, he is just unbelievable for farming PvP. Like, he's a true, like, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10 champion for, yeah, both farming and PvP. I'm interested to see if there are kind of any other uses, like, moving forward, but those two are sort of a huge thing for so many players out there that, like, Blue Demon Meliodas, he's kind of a must summon for, like, anybody on Global. You know, you've got to try your luck, go for him, because he's going to be dominant at least until Valenti becomes a very popular character, and then I think after Valenti comes in, then she kind of blocks him out for a while, but then with the release of I believe it's Blue Lilia, then he becomes like really dominant alongside Hauser for like a double pierce rate team. But this is like the toughest boss battle stage in the entire game, and we whooped it, man. That was just a little bit ridiculous. And we're straight into like double Blue Demon Meliodas cards as well, so we've just got such an insane follow-up here. I think we'll go for the decrease of defense related stats on Dreyfus there, double enchant Hellblaze, but he's a wrecking ball, man. He's a wrecking ball for getting stuff done. Like, it's just a little bit mad. He should probably be positioned, I think, on the left hand side, just to increase the chance that we are going to merge that silver enchant Hellblaze. So that's just something quickly I need to do as well to, you know, maximize this character a little bit more. Honestly, I feel like in the last couple of weeks, man, every time I've opened YouTube, it's like the whole like Escanor thing all over again with like Blue Demon Meliodas, and you see like so many videos pop up that you're kind of like, you get a little bit cynical of the hype in a way. You're like, oh man, there's been about 50 million videos on Blue Demon Meliodas. Like, is he really that good? Is he really that dominant? And at least in my experience so far, he just lives up to the hype. Like, Hauser is a crazy character. Hauser's been one of my, you know, probably top 5 characters for the last 2 months. But Blue Demon Melly, man, it's just ridiculous. He's just like a better version, kind of Hauser. Like, Hauser does have other advantages. Like, he does have that secondary, like, you know, AoE that doesn't hit as hard, but still deals some pretty nice damage. And also his ultimate hits everybody as well, and also decreases skill ranks. but the damage that you get off like Meliodas is just bronze pierce card is a little bit mad, mate. It is a little bit mad. Like, the burst is just stupid good on this fella. But max pierce rate, at least in my opinion, is the way to go. I know some people, have recommended building attack for Demon Meliodas just to get a bit more combat class, especially when stuff like UR gear comes around. And that, for the future, might be a thing. I think, like, at least from what I've heard from JP players, people are a little bit torn because it's kind of a thing on like the Japanese version of like, if you don't go first, the meta is like you lose. So if you don't have enough CC to go first, then you lose. And building pierce rate does have a bit of a negative implication. Not like a massive one, but a bit when it does come to the combat class of characters in your team. But I think for the damage gain that you get on Meliodas, like, I think it's a hit worth taking, man. I think it's definitely worth taking on Hauser, and Meliodas is like no other exception, man. He's just fantastic at the moment. Again, I think that's going to be something we need to evaluate in the future, because you are, it sounds like a very long-term investment and you've got to bind it to certain characters, but at least on global for now, while we have kind of free moving gear, there is just a crazy amount of benefit damage wise and burst wise from building a pierce rate set for Demon Meliodas. And you can also use the set on Hauser and Green Lizhawk. But yeah, I honestly, man, I've had a pierce rate set, I think, built for Hauser for about 2 months now. No regrets. It's one of the best sets I've ever built. Just amplifies the damage so much, makes auto farming like so much quicker, so much easier. And on top of that, man, the main thing for me is really PvP and trying to get the most out of my characters and setups. And yeah, it's just it's so good, man. The additional burst is just absolutely magical. But there are like loads of cosmetics for Demon Meliodas. He has a boatload. But one thing on sale right now for a bundle, I think this comes to the store in like a week and a bit. I may be incorrect. It may be like a few weeks before we see this, or it may not come back. But this sword is crazy, man, if you can get it. It's got like 7% pierce rate there. There's also ones from the Fight Festival that give you like 2% additional pierce rate, and cosmetics. I believe, what is it? This one is available currently in the store. Like, gives you 3% lifesteal. If we just hop over to the Sacred Treasure Shop, we can see what is available. But this one, I really like the Festival Mask just because it gives you 3% lifesteal, and that's great, especially because, like, Demon Meliodas, he's hitting everybody, he's hitting hard. I think this one is a solid investment there. The Red Demon's Horn, I don't think is as snazzy. It's got recovery rate and regen. Again, it's UR, so you get a nice health bonus, nice CC bonus. Like, I've brought it mainly for the stats there. But in terms of the weapons, have I brought any of these weapons, man? I don't think I have. We can get like a little bit more pierce rate if we go for this one, actually, but I imagine if you're limited on the cosmetics, that's not the worst one to pick up. And then we have this one, which, yeah, probably isn't the best one to pick up, man. Just gives you more crit chance and crit damage. It's like okay, but he's already got like a really high base crit chance, so yeah, I don't think it's necessarily the outfit that you want to lunge toward with great speed at the moment. But these are all my base stats for Demon Meliodas. So pierce rate, you can see we're up to 112%, man. Absolutely wild there. We've got 32.5% resistance, 20% regeneration rate. His crit chance is 62%. Crit damage is almost 170%. Crit resistance is 27%, and lifesteal is 19%. So the lifesteal is base with like a few pieces in the closet, man. It's just great, especially when he's hitting everybody so hard. That's almost like 20% there. Plus, I often running Red Griamore today in PvP, and he just synergizes so well with this Meliodas, just because he gives him like a 15% boost to health related stats. So that's 15% more health, 15% more lifesteal, and also recovery rate and also regeneration rate as well. So yeah, Red Griamore seems to be like the sub of choice, I think, when running Blue Demon Meliodas, but I need to do a little bit more testing in PvP and kind of finesse these setups and figure out exactly what is the dominant composition at the moment, because we've been trying all sorts today. But I do know one thing for a fact, and that is Demon Meliodas is just, he's a friggin' meta changer, man. He's going to break the meta for a while, really going to mix up a lot of the teams. You're going to just see this guy dominate PvP until somebody like Red King and Valenti come in, who have the ability to kind of slow down Pierce teams quite substantially. And then, yeah, I'm very interested to see how the meta is going to evolve and shift over the next few weeks, but it is going to be a lot more wild, man. But I think Meliodas, he's great. He's like bad and good because he's so strong, but hey, if you got him, man, you got him maxed out, it's a pretty damn good time. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on Blue Demon Meliodas and how to build this character in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy today's video, please do smash that like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.